Hey up, Sofa Squad. We are live, and I've got a special guest with me this evening. It's my brother, Tom.
Hello.
And hi. So he's going to be joining us for the first time ever. And we're going to be talking about um, uh, an idea that's been knocking around in my head for quite a while now. Jabba the Hutt, a Star Wars story. And but first, Tom, why don't you introduce yourself and say a few words about yourself and where people can find you?
Okay, I'm Black Sofa's younger brother. We've been obsessed with films since I was in primary school, at least, wasn't it?
Yes.
So we've been talking about films for quite a long time now. You can find me on Twitter. I'm actually called Tom of Bedlam, although I haven't put that name on my avatar. And I've got a blog, Tom of Bedlam, the link to which is also on my Twitter bio, so you can find me there.
Yeah, I'll put a link to your Twitter in the description
Oh, nice.
after we're done. I can't multitask like other people can.
No, meaning.
So yeah, we're going to be talking about um, uh, this idea for a Star Wars movie called Jabba the Hutt, a Star Wars story. And do you want to tell the people watching at home a bit about it?
Well, my interest was piqued with a tweet that you put out a few days ago. You said, "How about?" I can't remember the exact words, but it was something along the lines of, "How about an origin story for Jabba the Hutt? You know, how he became this big gangster boss that we see in the original trilogy."
Yeah.
And I thought that was. I think that's the kind of direction that the franchise needs to go in. I think this because I think we've had 9 films now exploring the same kind of themes. You know, there's a young person on a dusty planet. The Force is strong with them. They train to be a Jedi. They reach across what roads where they have to decide, the light or the dark side. You know, there's themes. There's a Sith, and and there's an apprentice, and that these themes. We've had 9 films exploring these themes, and I don't think they can go. If they announce, right, yeah, there's going to be another trilogy, and it's going to have another young person who's also strong with a Force. You know, I don't think they can sell it. You know, I think we're all a bit bored of it now, and I think it's Jabba the Hutt, get rich or die trying film. I think that would be a breath of fresh air. I think it'd be a welcome change of pace. And it's all the theme has been sort of established. You know, I was thinking back to the A New Hope, when Obi-Wan Kenobi says it. Mos Eisley, the spaceport on a Tatooine, and he calls it a wretched hive of scum and villainy. And, exactly. I want to know more about this wretchedness, this villainy, the villains, and the scum. You know, we see them in the bar. The one that alien, who intimidates Luke at the bar.
Yes.
You better watch yourself. I'm wanted on 20 systems or something like that.
Yeah.
Something set in that world would be refreshing. I think. The will they, won't they turn to the dark side is just. I don't see how they can reboot it again. I think it's kind of played out. So yeah, so that's what piqued my interest, definitely. So I mean, you said it's been knocking around in your head for a while. So what kind of ideas did you have for it?
Well, it actually started with a dream. I think I did post about it on Facebook as well a couple of years ago.
All right.
And I had this dream of that it was like I was watching it at the cinema in my mind's eye, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was a young Jabba the Hutt. It was kind of like it wasn't like the Star Wars films that we've seen, that we know and love or know and hate. That
Yeah.
it was kind of like it was more like The Sopranos.
I
And
like it.
so go on.
I was just saying, yeah, I like it. I like that idea. That's like the Sopranos. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was about how young Jabba the Hutt, he starts off as a petty thug, basically, but he gets into the Hutt family, and he kind of like the story of oh, what's his name in the Goodfellas.
Oh,
um
Henry Hill.
Henry Hill, yeah, and he kind of hustles his way up to the top,
Mm.
eventually, and becomes the godfather, if you like, of Tatooine,
Yeah,
and becomes the head of the Hart family, and he's the one, the don, in charge of prostitution, gambling, uh, drugs, uh, and smuggling,
yeah,
and it really captured my imagination, and so I wrote it. I said, I've made it. I Facebooked it. And then just a couple of weeks ago, I tweeted about it as well, because it's an idea that has stayed with me,
yeah.
and I think that it's a story that I would really like to explore, and I'd love to see it on this on the silver screen. Um, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. I would love to see on the silver screen too. Um, I have a few reservations, not about the idea, but about the practicalities. It would require. I mean, they're not insurmountable, but there are a few problems.
Yeah,
Uh, no one's to blame really, apart from perhaps George Lucas. Well, I'll get to that in a sec. But I think they must have. I wouldn't be surprised if it's announced. Eventually they must, as soon as they bought the franchise, Disney, they must have. It's definitely been discussed. I'd imagine, because he's one of the big characters that they own now. So it
yeah,
wouldn't surprise me if this has already been discussed. But yeah, I think there's a few problems that the screenwriters would have to overcome. It's not really George Lucas's fault, but
mm.
it's hard to imagine Jabba the Hutt, a huge fat lizard that doesn't have any. Does he have any legs? He sort of squelches along on his tail.
No, it's kind of a giant slug.
Yeah, I can't imagine him beating up a shop owner who's behind on the protection money. And you could argue, oh yeah, but he's got a blaster. He can just shoot people. But if I was a gangster and I had to choose my opponent in a shootout, it would be Jabba the Hutt. he's got mobility issues, and he's a huge target as well.
Yes, yes, he is a huge target. Yeah.
And the reason I think it's not George Lucas's fault entirely, when he made the original trilogy, he didn't know that. I don't think he ever thought, oh god, I'm gonna have to make an origin story for this character one day. He just added. It's neat, isn't it? It's cool when you finally. I mean, the trilogy that I grew up watching didn't include. There is a scene in the what do you call it? There was like a remastered version, and there are things added in. And there was that scene where you see Jabba the Hutt in A New Hope, and he's talking to Han Solo.
Yeah.
But that wasn't in the one the original. The first time we see him, is in Return of the Jedi, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jabba's palace, and it's kind of neat. Yeah, you're expecting, I guess, a humanoid kind of character, and it's not. It's this slug, and it's kind of neat and it's cool, and it adds to the sort of weird sort of alien, dimension to it. But he didn't even consider the practicalities of how did this slug become a mafia boss, and it is a problem,
Yeah.
Yeah. There is another problem that I had with it, and it's not again. It's not George Lucas' fault, but I think George Lucas has painted a lot of screenwriters into a corner.
Yeah.
I think we've seen it play out, in both the prequels and the sequels. I can't remember the exact words, but Obi-Wan Kenobi says that in the Old Republic, it was the Jedi's who sort of kind of enforced peace and justice. I think he says.
Yeah.
In the Old Republic. Yeah, I guess that's a kind of vague term. They're not law enforcement, are they? I mean, it seems to me that if you watch the prequels, they're like diplomats kind of thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're fighting wars. So I guess it wouldn't be the Jedi as law enforcement, because that would there'd be more Jedis, and they're kind of formidable, aren't they? I don't think many, gangs would be able to, or mafia families would be able to withstand the Jedi if they were after them. So that would be. I mean, that's another point. Mos Eisley seems almost lawless, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
maybe that wouldn't be a problem. I'm trying to think. There are gangster films where the law isn't really a big problem. The first Godfather, you've got that corrupt cop, haven't you? The Captain McCluskey.
That's right. Yeah.
But he's kind of a gangster anyway. He's not. Vito Corleone isn't worried about being arrested anytime during that film.
No.
Godfather 2, definitely. Michael Corleone's worried about. The
FBI.
The FBI, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you can have a gangster film without law enforcement being a factor. It's just you can have it like as a problem between the families or between the gangsters. Yeah. So that's not. Yeah. So that's okay. It doesn't have to include the Jedi. Yeah. So it would be a nice break from the Jedi Force themes and all that. But I guess. Why would you follow this slug around if you? I don't know. That is a huge problem. I mean, you could the screenwriter says, "Oh no, when he was younger, he was he was thin." But you can't, even if he was thin, you can't imagine him being like as agile as a mountain goat, can you? Like,
No.
yeah, that's a big problem. Maybe something happened to him that turned him like that. I don't know. Maybe his species, they start off as humanoid, and when they hit the age of 50, then they become big slugs. I don't know. I mean, do you have any ideas how that problem could be dealt with?
I don't know actually. But somehow he managed to become this huge mafioso godfather of Tatooine. That everyone's scared of.
Yeah.
That Han Solo is, scared of, running foul of.
Yeah.
And he's surrounded with underlings, in his palace. So he's amassed a fortune. So he must have managed somehow. You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess ruthlessness is a big. You don't have to be the best shot or the strongest man to rise up in organized crime. Sometimes if you're the most ruthless, then you can rise to the top anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe I mean, this is, like I said, the problems are. I think actually, the Jedi problem isn't a problem. I think I think that's a vague term. I don't think we're locked into them being the law enforcement or anything. The only problem is the physical attributes of Jabba the Hutt himself. But maybe he had a brother or something like that not a brother, but a really close friend who was very loyal to him from when they were kids. So he did all he did the physical stuff, and Jabba was more of the mastermind. Maybe that's the way around it.
Yeah, that could be the way around it. And another, what I didn't realize, apparently, because someone commented on the tweet saying that Jabba the Hutt was actually born into power, so it could be not Jabba the Hutt himself, but maybe his grandfather.
I did not know that.
It could be his story. It could be his rise to power.
All right. Yeah, I didn't see. I'm not an aficionado on the Star Wars canon or anything like that. I haven't read any of the books. Have you read any of the books?
No, I haven't.
No. So yeah. So if he is born into power, then that solves that does solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. But I was thinking that maybe it's not so much Jabba the Hutt's story, but maybe his grandfather's story of how he, rose from a petty thug, through the ranks of the Hutt family, and of course, if you're born into power, you're going to be, fat and sluggish and complacent. But if you have to, struggle and hustle and work your way up the ranks, you're going to be fit and agile.
Yeah.
So maybe his grandfather was, fitter and was able to strangle people or whatever. I don't.
With his tail.
Yeah, but he the Hutt species that they have, arms and hands as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. yeah. So it's doable, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, another thing, Michael Corleone, although he wasn't part of the family business at the start of the film, he was sort of born into the ruling family of the Corleone crime family. So yeah. So it's been, it's not not every gangster film has to be a sort of rags to riches thing anyway.
No, exactly. And my idea is that we can't have any. There can't be any fan service in the film. So we're not going to see Baby Yoda or a young Qui-Gon Jinn or
oh no
or anything like that. There's not it's going to be focused on the Hutt family and the crime, Mos Eisley, and the how does Obi-Wan Kenobi describe Mos Eisley?
A wretched hive of scum and villainy.
That's right. Yeah. So it's that kind of it's in that hive of scum and villainy that the film is set.
Yeah,
that's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, and I guess this would be quite an easy thing to sort out. Who are the adversaries? Is there another rival crime organization or in Mos Eisley?
Yeah, I'm guessing there's a rival family, and they're both vying for control of all the crime in Tatooine, and eventually the Hutt family come out on top. By killing all their competitors, as it were.
Oh yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Or there could be 5 families, like in The Godfather.
Well, and like in real life as well.
Yeah.
The 5 boroughs of New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had an alternative when I was thinking about this the other day, the Jabba the Hutt movie. I couldn't get to sleep. I was just thinking about lots of other potential storylines to do with this. I had another one that would be set after the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about the problem of Jabba the Hutt's physical attributes. I was thinking it could be like a new film or even a new trilogy, but it starts when Princess Leia strangles Jabba's fat ass in that palace. But
Yeah.
it turns out, do you remember like Jabba's got loads of concubines with him?
Yeah.
They're blue, aren't they? I think or something like that. And maybe one of them's pregnant with Jabba's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he grows up. I think I'm right in thinking that there's like a kind of 20-year gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
I thought it was 30 years.
Oh, is it 30 years? Oh, right.
Yeah.
So that means that Han Solo and Leia, they were together sort of 10 years. Then they had Kylo Ren, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that works. He can have a 30-year-old. So yeah, that's fine. And yeah, and then he grows up, and he grows up around, and he's humanoid as well.
Yeah.
He takes more after his mum than his dad. So that solves the mobility problem. And he can be green. I think it's important he has a human. I don't know. Maybe it's not important. But I was thinking, yeah, a relatable kind of face as well.
Yeah.
But we can make him. You can tell that he's a Hutt, but he's not like an ugly, unrelatable alien thing. He grows up in someone takes over from Jabba, and he's horrible, and he brutalizes his mother, and he grows up, and then he puts Jabba the Hutt's son. What should we call him? I was thinking maybe Pizza the Hutt.
Like in Spaceballs.
Yeah, or something like that. But yeah, the younger Hutt the second or whatever, Hutt the younger. Yeah, we see him. He grows up and he gets put to work and all that, and then he works his way up, and then he gets revenge because I guess maybe what could happen? Maybe his mum is killed by this new gangster bloke or something like that, and he gets his revenge, and then he slowly works. He takes over the family kind of thing, and then at the end, once the First Order is defeated, I was thinking maybe there's the creation of a new republic, and maybe Finn could be president of the new republic. Like in the prequels, you have the Imperial Senate and all that. Maybe something like that. Not as boring as the scenes that we saw in the prequels. And there's an elected president. And Finn becomes like elected president or something like that. And I was thinking there could be a conflict where Rey wants, she wants to start up a new Jedi school or whatever they call them, a Jedi Order. That's what they call them, isn't it? An order. Yeah. And she thinks that the Jedi's should, start doing again what they did in the Old Republic, which is, to keep peace and justice and order and all that. And but Finn's very much like, no, look at all the trouble it's caused.
Yeah.
How do you know one of your students won't go the way of Kylo Ren or Anakin? So we need to move on. We need to enter a new phase where we govern ourselves, and the Jedi, don't get involved in these kind of things. And so there's a conflict there.
Yeah.
But Jabba the Hutt's son becomes more and more powerful. But he's got to be very powerful. I think he's got to turn half the galaxy into a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
It becomes a problem. Like, he's a real threat to the New Republic, and Finn is coming under increasing pressure to deal with it. Rey wants to try to sort it out, and then mate. And I was thinking there could be like a real. I don't know if this could happen at the end of the first film, but I was thinking maybe President Finn could be assassinated or something like that. There's like he could be like the Jabba the Hutt son could be something like a Pablo Escobar kind of figure, where he's got lots of corrupted imperial senators, and there's lots of explosions, like a narco terrorist kind of thing, I think that could be difficult. And then maybe he corrupts enough Imperial senators. Because maybe after Finn's assassinated, Rey seeks revenge, and she starts to fight back against this big empire, this big criminal empire, which is causing misery to millions of people on lots of different star systems. International trade is grinding to a halt unless they they pay corruption money to Pablo the Hutt, we'll call it, and it's a huge problem. The Jedi's fight back, but then he manages to corrupt enough senators to pass a law outlawing the Jedi.
Yeah.
So the Jedi are now outlaws, and the New Republic deploys its armies against them. Yeah. And then maybe that could be the end of this second film or something. And then the third one is like the fight back. Somehow.
Yeah.
Rey and it doesn't have to be just Rey. There can be a few other Jedis or something. So it's like the Jedis, instead of fighting another Sith and another Emperor, they're fighting a different kind of threat, a more interesting gangster threat rather than more Sith Lords and all that. So I thought that could be another option for like a kind of Star Wars gangster saga,
Yeah. And I was thinking it could be written and directed by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be very interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. I suppose actually no. I was about to say Disney's target audience wouldn't like all this, but Rogue One's dark as hell, isn't it? So
yeah.
So this is perfectly doable in the sense of like it could be the first. I don't. What's that? What's the rating? The in America, it's like if it's a very adult film or lots of violence. Because you've got PG-13, then you got R. It's rated R, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
It's like they're 18, isn't it? And have they ever had an R-rated Star Wars film? I think Rogue One was PG-13, was it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, this could be the first R-rated Star Wars film.
Yes. Yeah.
If it's a Jabba the Hutt film, it can't be all cuddly, can it? Or a gangster film, involving one of the Hutt family. He's a murderous psychopath.
Yes.
Because Pablo Escobar, he bought lots.
I haven't actually seen it.
Oh, well, he was a real bloke. He was a Colombian sort of cocaine, kingpin. And he bought lots of African animals. Like he had loads of hippopotamuses and things like that. So yeah, I mean, like Jabba's got that huge. What's that huge monster that Luke has to?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah.
So maybe Pablo the Hutt could have like a planet full of like really horrible, animals. Really, you know what I mean? Like
Cronenberg style, grotesque animals or something.
Yeah. So, and that's sort of his defense, sort of his planet that has to be overcome or something like that. But yeah, I think it would be difficult because this would be carrying on the saga, and it would be an R-rated new Star Wars trilogy. So that Disney might not go for it. Finn gets assassinated. Yeah. I guess. Finn gets assassinated. Rey becomes outlawed. And but I think that would be good. But they'll never go for something like that, would they?
No.
They've got to go somewhere different, though, don't they?
Yeah. Because like you say, they've done the Jedi versus the Sith thing to death.
Absolutely.
That's that's been done now. The Skywalker saga is over, and so it's a question of where do they go from here?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that this touches on something else about Star Wars in general, which is we like to think. I think I definitely held this view for a long time. I just assumed that the Star Wars cinematic universe that George Lucas created was this teeming universe full of potential for storylines and sagas and interesting characters and all this. But I'm not sure it is. I'm really not sure it is. It may be, but it's just, it seems to me they had a whole new, they had the prequels. That was George Lucas, and I think he ran into troubles there trying to make these sort of morose space monks interesting. God, only George Lucas could suck the charisma out of the most charismatic, film star, Samuel L. Jackson,
Yeah.
Space monk. And then the sequels, they resorted to bringing the Emperor back.
Yeah.
God, couldn't they think of anything else? It seems to be like, if you made a film and I suppose, maybe this isn't true, but if you made a film, you think, right, no more Jedis, a Star Wars film, but no more Jedi Sith stuff, no more good side of the Force, bad side of the Force, no more Empire versus Rebellion.
Yeah.
Is it still a Star Wars film with none of those themes in it?
Good question. I don't know, but I think certainly and no more of this whole idea of it's got to rhyme. It's got to rhyme. Everything rhymes.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah, and they didn't learn from the now we know. Now we've seen the sequels in their entirety. They didn't learn from the prequels either. Really, that rhymed as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
And now I have to say, The Force Awakens. I think this shows, and less so. What's the middle one? The Last Jedi. Less so The Last Jedi, but they still leaned on Luke a lot, actually. But when you look at it, Force Awakens, they leaned on Han Solo. I think it's my favourite of the sequels, precisely because we see a lot of Han Solo, and he's a great character, and Harrison Ford is charismatic and funny, and it's just great seeing him again, But they lean on him. In the second one, not so much, but they kind of lean on Luke for a lot of it. And then in the third one, they lent on the Emperor again. It's like it's like a kid who's still tied to his mother's apron strings. It's like they they didn't break free, and I'm not sure. Maybe they couldn't break free because the themes are actually quite limited. It was this whole backstory and this whole universe was perfect in creating, enriching the original trilogy. But when faced with the task of sort of fleshing it out, maybe the contradictions are starting to cause it to sort of implode a little bit. Maybe it isn't. And if you do ignore all the themes and do something completely different, maybe why not just do your own thing? I suppose.
Yeah,
it's going to sell if you have Star Wars stamped on the front of it. So that's why, I suppose. But I think artistically, maybe it is played out a little bit. But yeah,
I think if I was put in charge of making a new Star Wars trilogy, I would definitely make it with Mr. Plinkett in mind. I'd want to make it to please him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing I was going to say, because it was something that you just reminded me of something. I think Mr. Plinkett. I've never actually bothered trying to verify this, but I think he says it in one of those those great reviews of the prequels, that George Lucas's first idea for Han Solo was some lizard creature. Seriously, like humanoid, but with a lizard's head and stuff like that. He's like, oh, can you imagine if Han Solo was a lizard?
No, it'd be awful.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of kind of the problem with Jabba the Hutt, is that he works well. He's not the protagonist. He's a monster, basically. Isn't it? He's just a monster. He's in the background, and then we finally see him, and we're repulsed by him, and we don't even. I didn't question it. I like his neat. I think original idea, you know, the Jabba's palace. But I think it's kind of thing. If you want to develop it, you'd have to face some serious problems about.
Yeah.
And we base a whole
Mobility.
yeah, his mobility issue.
In
And
his palace, in Return of the Jedi, he doesn't move.
No.
He just sits there and kind of squirms around, and that's it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I'm not even sure if you bought Star Wars on DVD now, it would have that scene where he's talking to Hans, and he is walking around then.
Yeah.
You know, slowly and sluggishly. I mean, like, I think Han Solo literally runs rings around him.
Yeah.
He just walks around the back, just treads on his tail, and then walks around the front again.
It's a completely different character.
Yeah.
And he's a lot smaller.
I guess he just let himself go over the next 2 years. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's doable, but they'd have to have a serious think about, because Mos Eisley, a film set in Mos Eisley, you know, a criminal underworld. It doesn't have to be limited to there because he's a smuggler. It could have other stuff. But yeah, it would require to make it a Jabba the Hutt origin story. It would have to, some ingenious writer would have to come up to you know, jump over those hurdles.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, actually, I have a confession to make. I haven't seen Solo either. So maybe some of these things are. Is Jabba the Hutt in Solo?
I don't know. I haven't seen it either. I didn't want to go to the cinema to see it, you see.
Yeah, neither did I. Neither did I.
If it's on Netflix, or if it comes on Netflix, then I'll watch it. But I'm in no rush to see it, to be honest.
No, I was just wondering if some of these themes had been explored in that, or was it still good? So they somehow to crowbar in the good versus, you know, dark side, light side. I don't know. I guess that's the nearest film they've made so far to the one that we're talking about. Is Solo like that? I don't even know. I'm just gonna have a look on Google to see if Jabba the Hutt's in Solo.
Yeah, tell us in the comments if you've seen Solo and and if Jabba the Hutt features at all. You know, let us know.
So you got
all 2 of you who are watching.
I'm just going to look at the cast. So you got Hans. So yeah, you got Woody Harrelson and Emilia Clarke playing various people. Lando. No, Hans with his side. No, it doesn't seem. I don't think he's in this. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If anyone's watching and they know that he does feature, maybe he's standing in the background or something. You know, they do that kind of thing, don't they? Just to link stuff in, don't they? I don't know what the plot's about. I think it must be. I think it's about. Maybe I'm wrong again. I probably am wrong, but you know when he talks about the Millennium Falcon, this did the Kessel Run in less than 10 parsecs or something. Maybe it's all about that. I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah, but yeah, that must be featured. I think it must be. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a? Well, actually, I'm on Wikipedia. So this is again questionable. It describes it as an American space western film.
Okay.
And that's how the Mandalorian's been described as a kind of western. So yeah, again, that's something different, and that's also something different, isn't it? So yeah, they are trying to move away from, you know, lightsabers, Force, and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah, but it wasn't reviewed. As I understand, Solo wasn't reviewed well at all, was it?
No. So I heard. Yeah.
We can see. I'm just gonna check out the Rotten Tomatoes score. Not always a accurate sign of how good a film is, but sometimes it is a good indication.
Yeah.
No, 70% Rotten Tomatoes, and the viewers score is 82%. Or 82% like this film. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a go. I think I was a little bit jaded by the whole Star Wars film when that film came. The whole Star Wars saga when that film came out. So I was kind of whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if it's on Netflix, then I'll give it a go.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it has to sort of fall on my lap, if you know what I mean.
I don't want to pay for it. Well, Well, no more than what I, than the monthly subscription for Netflix. I mean,
No, yeah, exactly, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not willing to pay too much to watch it. Yeah, I don't know. Something put me off about that film. Like, I don't know what. I think that was it. I was under the false impression that it had been panned by the critics, and but it obviously hasn't. So maybe it is a good. I mean, at this point, I'm just if it provides me with 2 hours, reasonably entertaining, a reasonably entertaining 2 hours, and I'm willing to give it a go. But from what I can see, it doesn't explore these kind of gangster films. It's much more of a sort of another event. It's like an adventure, So yeah, it wouldn't tread on our toes if we're gonna if we're gonna write this film and send it off to Disney.
But maybe we should. Maybe we should script it and then pitch it to Disney. Who knows?
Yeah, I think because this is speaking, speaking about the films in the themes in general that we're talking about. I am starting to think maybe George Lucas was kind of laughing all the way to the bank,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think was it 4 billion, wasn't it, or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah.
They paid a lot for this thing, and now I think they just thought, oh, look at this thing, we can make lots of coin out of this, and they've made what, the 3 sequels, Rogue One and Solo, in it, and the Mandalorian, which is a TV show, and they've got, was it Rogue? Oh no, not Rogue. What's it called? The Clone Wars or something? Is that cartoon Disney?
Yeah, the cartoon series. Yeah.
So they've made a few things, but they might be scratching their heads thinking, how can we keep this fresh, or what else can we do with this? Because I think that's a good comparison when you compare it to the Marvel franchise.
Yeah.
Stan Lee wasn't like George Lucas, that he all of his characters and his stories, they're fleshed out a lot already.
Yeah.
It's not entirely ready made because they had to make a few changes and expand things a little bit, but the main things, it's always there. It sort of writes itself in a way. But yeah, Star Wars, most of this universe was to service the original trilogy, and it requires much more inspiration, much more inventiveness to make this work than the Marvel films did. Was it? They made 22. I think it's 22 films leading up to Endgame, and I'd say the vast majority of them are either good or very good.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm wrong. I think the general consensus is that Rogue One's probably the best film they've done so far. I guess a lot of people like the sequels anyway, don't they? But I do wonder. How we were captivated by, the original trilogy when we were a kid. In 5 years' time, a kid's going to still be watching the sequels, thinking, "Oh, I loved it. I grew up with it." Maybe, but I don't know.
Time will tell, I suppose.
Yeah, time will tell.
Yeah.
I can't see it personally, but yeah, what do I know? Yeah, so Jabba the Hutt, a Star Wars story. It has legs, though, I think, and it is the kind of thing they have to, the kind of direction. I mean, again, have you seen The Mandalorian?
No, I haven't.
Is it on there? Is it on Netflix? I don't know.
No, it's not on Netflix. It's on Disney Plus.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course.
And I don't think we're going to have it until March.
All right. Because I think there's been some positive noises made about that, how it's different,
Yeah.
I think
what I may do,
sorry.
What I may do, subscribe to Disney Plus just to watch The Mandalorian, then unsubscribe.
Yeah, do the 4-week trial trick, and then unsubscribe. I mean, I did that with YouTube. they used to call it YouTube Red. I don't know what they call it. They've changed the name of it, I think. But
Hmm.
because I wanted to watch what was it called? Cobra Kai.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is the Karate Kid TV sequel TV show, and
yeah.
but I didn't want anything. I looked on it. I didn't want anything else they're offering, so I managed to unsubscribe. And before the 4-week trial was up, so I managed to watch it for free. Yeah. So I'll probably end up doing that with the Mandalorian. But yeah, I think that was described as a Western as well by a few people. So maybe that's thing. But that's not really what are they going to do? Because are they going to have they announced? That's a good point. Have Disney announced that they're going to make another trilogy or another big film that continues the saga? I think they've kept it close to their chest so far. Have you heard anything?
Yeah. Well, I apparently they've already started work on the next trilogy.
Oh no, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know.
So
So there's going to be another kid on a dusty planet with whom the Force is strong.
yes.
And Rey's going to train him up as a Jedi. This time they're going to go bad, aren't they? They're going to go. He chooses the dark side because Kylo Ren had already chosen the dark side,
Yeah.
and then he became good. Are they going to just do a sort of kind of prequel thing, which sets up another trilogy where so a bad ending, and then another. I really don't know where they're going to go. I guess I hope they prove me wrong. I don't want to see any of the following really. Another Sith Lord and an apprentice.
Yeah.
Good, I suppose that they will if they do. Endless lightsaber fights. Some kind of space station or another weapon which can destroy a planet. That has got. They can't have that again, surely.
Yeah. Now
But
this
again,
time it can destroy whole solar systems.
Yeah, it's going to have to be that, isn't it? Because they have to up the ante now because they've set a precedent where the technology exists to have not just the Death Star or Starkiller base, but at the end of Rise of Skywalker, individual. What are they called? Star Destroyers, those big pointy ships.
I think so.
Carillion something, I don't know. I'm not really up on all these things, but yeah, individual spaceships that can destroy planets. So it's they're gonna have to up the ante even more.
Yeah.
Because technically the New Republic has gained a very powerful weapon now because they shot down those things, but surely the technology could have been can be salvaged because they shot down all those ships, didn't they?
Yeah.
I started to almost fall asleep towards the end. I can't remember the end. Yeah. I think so they're gonna have to explain that away. What threat can the New Republic not face down, seeing as they've got a fleet of planet destroying ships?
Yeah. Well, what they could do, I don't know much about this, but they could do a Knights of the Old Republic trilogy.
That's interesting. I actually played. I think it was on the PlayStation 2, or maybe the PlayStation 1. I think it might be PlayStation 2. Maybe the Xbox. I don't remember. But I bet there was a computer game called Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a turn-based. It's weird. I don't know. It was like a kind of role-playing thing where when you encountered an enemy, you had to sort of take your turns, and it was kind of like, I don't know how I describe it really, but I remember being a bit bored of it. But yeah, that's a big thing. The Knights of the Old Republic is an established thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, I think because people really like Darth Revan.
Yeah, I've heard the name. Yeah, I don't know too much about Knights of the Old Republic, so I'm guessing that he's a Sith.
Yeah.
And is he the master or the apprentice?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything about it because I've never played it. I don't have a PS4 or whatever.
Mm.
To be able to play these games, but he's very popular with people who have played this game. So
I'm,
it could become the next trilogy
I'm just
if
gonna
there's
Google.
enough people.
I'm just gonna Google it. So how you spell how are you spelling Revan? Do you know? Is it?
I think it's Revan.
Oh, it's come up now. Like Darth Revan. Oh, right. So he kind of looks like Kylo Ren from these pictures. So I'll read out the
Yeah.
description. Revan is a fictional character in the BioWare video game Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, in which he's the playable protagonist. He also appears in related media in the Star Wars Expanded Universe.
Yes.
I mean, what kind of... I mean, there's a whole... I mean, I'm only coming at this whole thing from a kind of a novice point of view. I know there's a whole expanded universe, isn't there? So I guess people who are well versed in this expanded universe would be disagreeing with me big time, saying, "Yeah, what are you talking about? There's loads of things that we could, But is Knights of the Round? Is this storyline Jedi is good? Obviously Sith's bad, and then they have lots of lightsaber fights again. Because if it is, then is it really that different from everything else we've seen? Maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, isn't it? Like, I don't know what. I was too young to actually have any developed expectations when the prequels came out. But never in my wildest dreams would I ever imagine that I would see young Obi-Wan and another Jedi in the first scene, sort of on their way to sort of settle some kind of trade dispute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I guess, upholding peace and justice in the Old Republic is a very vague term. It could have meant a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't want them. Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's again, how else could it have been? It's like they dodged it. This problem in the sequels. If you're the underdog, if you're Luke, the Jedi have been, next to wiped out. You're the underdog, and then it's like the rise again. But at the start of the Force Awakens, they're the government.
Yes.
But they kind of dodged that, and like within an hour into the film, they're suddenly the resistance.
Yeah.
And the First Order have got the upper hand on. They what a weak government.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think the screenwriters thought, God, it's going to be a bit boring if they're the government and they're crushing a rebellion, because it's like they're not the underdogs. But I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe we could have another chat, and I'll do a bit of research into this Darth Revan and the storylines surrounding him. Maybe he can solve these problems that we've been talking about. Personally, I doubt. I mean, I worry that they're just going to keep making them forever, and people are going to keep watching them forever because there's lots of shiny lightsabers.
Yeah, and of course there'll be a lot more merchandise.
Yeah, and the people think I think it's the kind of thing where it's like I'm not going to. It's 2 hours entertainment. I don't care if it's a really good film or not. I just want to see. I just want to. It's only 2 hours, and I think a lot of people have that. I wasn't very keen on the sequels after the first one, and I certainly wasn't keen to watch the ride. But I went. I paid money and sat down for 3 hours and watched it with maybe 3 hours. And I've told myself I'm done with it. But I've already sort of committed myself to watching The Mandalorian. So maybe I will just keep eating everything they spoon feed me. Forever. But yeah, I've told myself I'm done unless a film comes out and it's sort of like even the most sternest critics can see that it's great and Star Wars is back on track, I will try and resist any future, Star Wars films. And I've told myself I'm done with Marvel now. 22 films. The whole Thanos storyline has reached a conclusion. I've said enough, because it's going to be. It sort of gives Hollywood too easy a job. All we have to do is keep churning these out forever.
Yeah.
Superhero films ad nauseum. I want more. When you look back to the God, the golden age, or one of the golden age. The 60s, 70s, 80s, 50s. They had so many original. There was so many sort of like isolated great films. No sequels, no prequels, just little gems of films that like like look at the 70s, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and all. And it's very rare. It's very rare. When we went to see The Rise of Skywalker, they had 7 trailers.
Yeah.
Before the film started. 6 of them were either a reboot or a sequel.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah, no.
And Bad Boys looks shit.
Yeah, God, yeah. Bad Boys. Is it Bad Boys Forever or Bad Boys for Life?
Yeah, Bad Boys for Life. Yeah.
For Life, yeah. And so it was Bad Boys for Life. I remember I quite liked Zombieland, and there was Zombieland Double Tap, and I just think, another sequel. I don't know, it could be good. But I'm kind of reluctant to watch any sequel now.
Yeah.
There was others as well, wasn't there? The thing is, you could argue, although it is, Dr. Dolittle. That's a kind of reboot, isn't it? Because there's been a Dr. Dolittle film before
with Iron Man.
Oh, sorry.
With Iron Man.
Yeah, with old Robert Downey Jr. I can't remember, but there was only one film that wasn't, either reboot or sequel. It was about some dog. Can you remember that one? I can't remember it, but I remember it looked rubbish. So yeah, it's just like I haven't even looked at it. I bet if you type in 2020 movies into Google, the overwhelming majority will be some kind of sequel, something we've seen before.
Yeah. And
that's really. So I don't want to feed this monster by going to see this stuff, but I'll probably relent. If there's a new Star Wars trilogy out, just so we can talk about it. I think that's a new thing. I think people watch stuff just so they can chat about it.
Yeah.
No matter what that is. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, I don't think I think your idea is the right direction to go. But I think Disney is set on they're trying to. I think they'll just keep trying to emulate the Marvel universe. But I think they've got a different. They've got Star Wars is a different animal. I think, and I think to be honest, I kind of hope they fall flat on their faces, and they don't profit from just churning out film after film after film after film.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jabba the Hutt, a Star Wars story. Or some your variation, where it's his grandfather, or mine, his son.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really welcome change of tone.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we could. Yeah, maybe I should get writing a screenplay. Send it to Disney's. This trilogy, this new. I'm gonna have to look at that up. I didn't know that had been announced. I didn't know if they'd committed to doing it. So it's already underway. Do you say?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, I can't see. Maybe it's my lack of imagination, but I just can't see how they can make it a Star Wars film but not make it about. And it's obviously. I mean, it's got to include Jedi. You can bet your house on the fact that it's going to include Jedis and Sith and all that. Or they can have I guess it's a galaxy and it's got to have some kind of government.
Yeah.
And the Sith are always seeking to undermine the government or rule the universe in an empire. So it's like a constant, it's a constant yin and yang there's a constant cycle of events, isn't there?
Yeah.
The Jedi had a good run, 1,000 generations, and then the Empire. Then the Empire came down, and then the people who brought down the Empire were incompetent, it seems to me, because they let the First Order just come straight back in again. So now the First Order.
Yeah.
What's the new threat? Is it going to be another Sith Lord? I guess are the punters going to keep watching this? If it's the same thing repackaged again and again and again, I don't know. We have to wait and see.
Yeah. I guess so. Anyway, we've been chatting for just over an hour, so I think we'll wrap things up.
Yeah. I think we've explored it very well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great having you on, Tom. We have to do this on a regular basis, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. I was thinking, I want to. Yeah, what I'll do, I'll look up Revan. I'll look up Darth Revan, and maybe we can talk about a bit more about the expanded universe at some time in the future. But next time, maybe we could talk about something completely different. Like a film that we love. Maybe something like, I don't know, an 80s film that we love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's something like that. Yeah,
we talk about the Burbs.
Oh, good shout. Yeah, definitely. I'm in. Yeah, Joe Dante's The Burbs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it already.
Yeah, same here. Anyway, so if you've liked this video and you'd like to see more, then do subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss another video. Okay, bye for now.